False. Completely false.
Yeah, that's not true.
I don't know about that.
Who the fuck comes up with this shit?
Liars!
Said Wind Up Records initially refused to release the Fallen album unless Evanescence would agree to add a full-time male co-vocalist. When the band would not agree to this, the label relented, insisting that only a male vocalist would be featured on Bring Me to Life. You were not happy about it, but agreed.
Yes, that's all
true.
Exactly true.
That's all true. That's a weird thing that they would
I had to
want
fight that fight hard. In fact, we had to leave that place in California, say, never mind, I guess we're dropped and we're not doing anything.
Oh, okay.
Drive all the way back to Arkansas with tears in our eyes that it was not going to work out because we refused to hold auditions and hire a rapper to join the band because that would be so awful. And then when we got there, I guess we called their bluff enough that they were like, okay, we have a movie opportunity and we're going to let you do your thing, but you do have to have the rapper on the one song because they specifically asked for it. I don't know where that came from. So we said, okay, we'll take it. Rapper in one song.
It worked out well.
It did work out. I can't be mad about it now.
Yeah. What would Bring Me to Life sounded like without the male vocalist?
That's the way we do it live. I love it that way still the best.
Yeah? It would have still been one of your backup guys doing the male part in that way?
No, we never wrote the male part. That was something that we had to add. The label forced us to create.
Oh, so it would have
So I had to
been...
write a new part and find somebody to sing it. Or
Gotcha.
say it.
Oh, yeah, say it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you attracted the attention of Rick Rubin, it was at one of the shows, and he asked you, hey, let's keep in touch.
Who, Rick?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Don't know? Okay, that might be...
No, he actually, the first show he came to, he pulled us, it was at the Viper Room, and we went outside because he wanted to talk to us after the show. We're like, fuck, dude, Rick Rubin wants to talk to us. And he's like, yeah, I want this. I'm like, what? You already want this? Like, you know, because before that, like, labels were coming for like weeks and weeks, months. They were coming to the show. Same guy would come and sit there. I was like, so, and we're not going to ask him like, hey, give us a deal, because that looks like we're thirsty and hungry. We were, but we didn't want to seem like we were desperate, you know?
Yeah.
We saw other bands getting picked up, but these guys were never making a move, you know? We were just like this band that got stuck, you know? We're like, fuck, everyone's getting picked up. All these bands that we were playing with, they're like signed by Geffen. One guy signed by Universal, this, that, whatever. And, he just goes, yeah, man, I don't need any more of this. I love what I saw. After he came to that show, all the other labels started dropping deals on us. So I was like, oh, offering here now. Well, shit, Rick's here. You know, I guess they knew how he moved. You know, he didn't fuck around, man. Yeah, that was it. It's a minute, man. It's a moment.
Yeah, life changes immediately.
Yeah, dude. Immediately, yeah.
Down with the Sickness, the odd noise was inspired by a visit to the Chicago Zoo.
No.
There's like these pictures of like monkeys making crazy noises or whatever.
Who the fuck comes up with this shit? I swear to God.
Okay, so was it?
It literally just happened one day. We were practicing, and that beat that Mike starts the song off with is just very primal and tribal, and it makes you kind of go to an animalistic sort of place. And there used to just be a pause. We used to pause for dramatic impact, and there was nothing. And one practice, I just went, wow. And they all kind of stopped. They're like, the hell is that? And I'm like, I don't know, but there's something to it. Just humor me. Let's do it again. And a couple more times it started sticking with them, and lo and behold, now I'm sure that's what's going to be on my goddamn tombstone. Here lies David Drayman. Yeah, great.
That's cool. Who can really say that they invented a noise? Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, inspired by this man himself, not an animal at the Chicago Zoo.
I'm my own animal. Thank you very much.
There you go. It says in Slipknot's early years, you would bring pigs' heads on stage.
Cow's heads.
Cow, okay. Wrong animal. It sounded a little black metal.
There was a couple times a pig head would have been on stage, but I can honestly tell you I did not purchase or bring them, whereas if there were ever cow heads on stage, you get a little bit more bang for the buck. It's about $8 a head at that time instead of $6 a head, and a much bigger piece of anatomy to work with. So I brought cow heads.
Beautiful. 2003, it said that you would prepare for tours by stashing as much methamphetamine as you could in things like vitamin capsules, deodorant containers, and in your clothes.
Yes, I meth will make you do some crazy things, but I would scoop out the white deodorant part and and put meth like in a baggie.
It'll also make you crafty.
Yes, and I put it in the white stuff. It's cool. I can laugh about it now. I put it in the white stuff, and then I would pack the white stuff back on it, and then put the deodorant stick back together.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, how many airports I've been in, and those officers walk around with the dogs, and I'm thinking they'll smell the deodorant. They won't smell the meth in the baggie if it's mixed in with the deodorant. So.
And that worked?
It worked.
Wow. All right. So, just a tip for you guys out there.
Don't do meth.
Don't do meth, first of all.
On your Wikipedia page, it says when Head left, you felt an immense amount of pressure in terms of creating music because you two had worked so closely together for such a long time.
That's true. I mean, it was a partner in songwriting. I mean, he's the first person I wanted to play like. I know I have other influences that were well known, but I mean, the first time I ever saw somebody play a guitar in an amp, it was right in front of me was him, and he was just a huge musical inspiration in my life. From the minute he sold me my first electric guitar and amp, and so even we went to high school together, so it was just hard. Not only losing a friend, but taking on all the songwriting duties pretty much. It was basically me and the producers at the time, and on Korn, Remember Who You Are. That's Ray came in and was part of that those writing sessions, and it really kind of emerged again as a writing partner, and that was got a lot easier.
In the end, the video for that one, there was a little quip that said, a strange-looking whale can be seen flying around a large statue during most of the video. Specifically at the end, it says the whale's inclusion was your idea, but the reasoning behind its inclusion has never been revealed.
Yes, that's true.
That's true.
Yes.
Wait, there's something big secret about this whale, about what it represents or anything like that? Is it like a...
Yeah, potentially. That there's... Yeah, it could... Yeah.
You can't tell us what the whale is?
No, I could tell you.
I would love to know what the whale is. It's like such a mystique thing on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
apparently.
that'd be cool.
All right. No whale. It says that Megalomaniac was banned from daytime viewing on MTV because many listeners misinterpret it to be about then-President George W. Bush. However, the band was actually pleased with this viewing restriction.
It was actually restricted from MTV, and it was for what they deemed inappropriate, like political content or something like that. It wasn't people misinterpreting it or anything like that. It was just the people at MTV, I think at that time, it was, post 9/11, and I think probably just didn't want to play the video, to be honest. Like that was probably their way of being like, oh, sorry, we can't.
Really?
We've got rules.
Far more popular than it would have
been. It's a good video.
I love that video.
Yeah.
Flori Sigismondi directed it. She's such an amazing artist, and we were really lucky to work with her a couple of times making music videos. But it was during it was post 9/11. It was George W. Bush, and it was an interesting time in America in that any dissent from popular political opinion was really almost dangerous.
Unpatriotic.
It was considered unpatriotic to not agree with the commander-in-chief at such a sensitive time in our country. But there were huge swaths of Americans who thought that what we were doing in response was very strange, and maybe there were some ulterior motives in there. And so, it turns out that it was true. There were some deep, dark ulterior motives involved. And but who would have thought that we'd end up where we are now? So it's strange because Megalomaniac is in a way, kind of weirdly like prophetic.
Yeah.
Because we kind of wrapped back around and came back to an even worse, more dangerous kind of megalomaniacal figurehead.
After listening to his son's copy of the Godsmack album, a father in the U.S. complained to Walmart that the lyrics were offensive, and this caused Walmart and Kmart to take the album off the shelves.
Best press we ever got in our lives.
Unbelievable.
Fucking
One
amazing.
person.
Till this day, I still thank that guy.
Really?
Yeah. It was the
Thank
best
you,
thing
guy.
he could have ever done for us. Like, we got more exposure off that than I think we ever have in the history of our career. So that was a great move on his behalf. We appreciate it.
Chop Suey, Wikipedia says that the song was originally titled Self-Righteous Suicide, but Columbia Records forced the band to change it to avoid controversy.
It was not called Self-Righteous Suicide. It was called Suicide.
Okay, gotcha.
That's why in the beginning of it, you hear Roll Suicide.
Right.
Because it was always called Suicide, never Chop Suey. And then Chop Suey is suicide chopped in half.
Okay, but it was the record label that was like, this is a bit too much, guys.
There was some kind of talk about it. We had to pick and choose our battles. We couldn't battle everything, you know? So we were smart about it. We made it something cool. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we didn't want to name it that. It wasn't like we named it something light. You know, we named it something that has a story behind it. Now, 20 years later, you're asking me about it. 19 years later.
That video is actually about to hit 1 billion views on
Second time around.
Second time around?
When they told us, I even had the meme. It says 1 billion. It was years ago. It was like 5 years ago.
The prayer video featured apocalyptic imagery, the city being destroyed. This led to some outlets refusing to play the video, saying that it looked too similar to the September 11th attacks. After initially considering to edit the video, Disturbed ultimately chose not to.
Correct.
That's correct. So just, I'm kind of interested about the considering to edit it. Was it about just like...
It was about exposure. It was about exposure.
Okay.
You know, here you go ahead and you spend $500,000 making a video. It was the most expensive video we had made in our career. It was something that I had heavily invested my own person into. You know, I wrote the treatment for it. I co-directed it. It was very, very close to me.
Yes.
So it was really hard to be like, well, this thing that we put all this effort, time, and money into, and all this passion into, isn't going to reach the people that we want it to. So we were thinking, you know, maybe we edit it in some way and make it acceptable, but then it was going to be too large of an undertaking. It would have destroyed the video, the editing that they wanted. And that was at a time when the internet was just starting to become a viable, real viable marketing entity for bands and so on and so forth. And so we viewed it that way. You know what? Fuck it. They don't want to play it? Fine. We're going to get our mileage online. Yeah. We're going to spread it virally. The very idea that people are banning it is going to encourage people to try and find it online, and that video got so many damn views, it probably was seen more times in that way than it ever would have been on MTV or any of the other networks that banned it at the time.
Yeah. The Catalyst, another one. Inspiration was what it would be like if mankind had to accept their fate in a time of despair.
Yeah, I guess that's
Kind
correct,
of.
but that's not really.
What was it more specifically?
Well, that album was called A Thousand Suns in reference to Oppenheimer's. He had a little speech after they dropped the atomic bomb, and it was just a strange moment for him because he's a man of science wanting to do good for mankind, but created this ultimate weapon of destruction. And basically he was saying, okay, just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Yeah.
You know?
The Last Resort video was primarily meant to show the secret lives of people and how people may not look depressed, but still are.
I think the purpose of that's false, I believe. I feel that video, the whole kind of premise behind it was to take people from where they don't want to be, which is alone, to together with their friends at a rock show. You know what I'm saying? That was the whole MO of that video. Not necessarily like, let's showcase depression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember, it's have the people in the crowd and it goes to them at home. And I remember that very clearly from way back in the TRL days.
That was that video was so popular. I remember TRL called us and they're like, "You have to come here and retire it from the chart." And they like gave us a sledgehammer and a videotape, and we had to like crush it. They were like, "We can't play this anymore." We're like, "Why?"
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
I remember that.
Did you make like was it like 50, 60 days?
I don't know, a lot of days. Many
days. The Faceless album got its name after a swimming pool incident where a lady called the cops after she saw you and Shannon Larkin skinny dipping.
No. Nope, that is not true. Although I will tell you what happened. Faceless had nothing to do with Miami or anything like that. Faceless was actually written back in Massachusetts when we were first writing that album before we even decided to take it to Florida. And the only reason we went there is because there was too much distraction with families and friends. We couldn't get our work done, so we had to go to a remote place. But yeah, the first night we were there, me and Shannon drank 11 bottles of wine, and we were wasty face. And we got up on the roof, and I don't know why, but we were totally naked, and we were jumping in the pool.
Why not?
And I remember as the sun came up, it was 8 a.m, and it was scalding hot. The tiles on the roof were just like hot potato, you know? And I happened to look over, and this lady was just pulling up her blinds with a glass of orange juice and cleaning out her eyes, and she said, "What the fuck?" And I just, oh my God, sorry, and boom, and in the water. And so, yeah, that was just a drunken night of, I don't know. I don't even know why we were naked.
After Stained acquired a concert slot with Limp Bizkit just prior to the performance, Fred Durst was appalled by the Tormented album cover and unsuccessfully attempted to try to remove you from the bill.
Correct.
This is correct. Okay, that's all over Wikipedia. So
And he actually stood on the side of the stage the entire set and watched the band.
And then was impressed.
And that's what led to us ultimately getting a record deal.
Yeah, and then, of course, everything from there on was all positive, like working relationship and all that stuff.
And even after we played, it was positive. I mean, it was,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It was, but yes, beforehand, I mean, he was yelling at Aaron and I and, you know,
oh no,
trying to get us kicked in. We're just going up and playing.
What about it? Was it the cross? Was it the
knife
blood,
through the Bible, maybe? I mean, the whole thing.
Just the knife through the Bible. That's it. No. Well, there you go. What was he yelling at you? Was it?
I don't remember. I just remember he wasn't happy.
He was just none too pleased.
Yeah, it was at the Webster Theater in Hartford, and we were in like the
I've
little
been there a bunch of times.
little entrance area there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. There's some little history for everyone at the Webster.
Yeah.